Hey everyone, okay, in this video, let's talk about some news that broke a couple days ago in regards to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Now, Disney released some information in regards to the Cantina that will be located within the land. Now, for those of you that have been subscribed to my channel for a long time, I've done a couple videos on the subject matter of alcohol in Disneyland, and I support alcohol in Disneyland for a number of reasons, okay? But essentially, in this press release, Disney announced they will have adult libations or adult drinks, beverages, in the Cantina. Now, I think this is a great idea. You can't have a cantina without alcohol. It's weird. And, you know, in the press release, they even mentioned that basically because of the story, the backstory, you know, that it's a cantina, it would be odd without it. And I agree with them. You know, usually when Disney like suits throw around the story word, it kind of comes off cliche and kind of gimmicky. But in this sense, I really actually do agree with them. It does fit the story. You can't have a bunch of non-alcoholic drinks in a cantina. It's weird. So I support this idea 100%. Now, there's a lot of Disneyland traditionalists that don't like this idea because they feel that, you know, Walt said, you know, he didn't want alcohol, you know, at Disneyland because he wanted Disneyland to be separate or different from the seedy seaside piers of yesteryear. Okay, where there were a lot of bums and drunks and what have you. But see, to me, in my opinion, that was a bygone era, okay? Walt was establishing Disneyland as something different, so he needed to do stuff to differentiate, right, between what he's building and what already exists. So things like that mattered at that time, you know, to separate what Disneyland is from these other places. But it's been 60 plus years now that we've had Disneyland and overall Disney parks, and nobody associates Disney parks with seedy, like drunken, venues. Okay, they've already built up their own reputation. There's no need now to separate the alcohol from the parks because, you know, they're not associated with those dirty seaside piers of yesteryear. They're just not. And, you know, Disney, when they do alcohol, they don't go cheap. They do not go cheap. I mean, if you look at the bars at the Disneyland Resort or anywhere in any of the Disney parks, they're upscale. They're the opposite of trashy, the total opposite. Even Pixar Pier, people that didn't like Pixar Pier, the one thing that everyone kind of agrees on is how nice the Lamplight Lounge looks. Why? Because it has alcohol and because Disney makes a lot of money on that. They spend money on the alcoholic venues, the bars, the microbreweries. They spend money on that stuff. So this whole argument, well, Walt didn't want alcohol in his park. Well, yes and no. He didn't want it to become a trashy venue like the Seaside Piers, but that's not what current Disney is doing. That's not what they're doing with the alcohol. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, no one's going to confuse that with a scummy looking, dirty, trashy pier. No one's going to associate those two, okay? No one's going to associate Disneyland as a whole with that kind of place. So it's irrelevant. Walt Disney, again, this was over 60 years ago that he even made these comments. You don't think that Walt Disney's opinion would have evolved over time? My opinion evolves from year to year sometimes. What I think now is different than what it was a year ago or 2 years. You don't think Walt Disney, as forward thinking as he was, wouldn't have changed his mind on certain things, maybe like alcohol in the parks? Of course he would. Of course he would. Now, I'm not here to speak for Walt, obviously. He passed away. I'm not here to speak for him. But to say that anything he said in 1955 is like the gospel and we have to, you know, we can't move from what he said, I think it's silly. I think it's absolutely silly. It's a different era. You can't, you know, you have no way of knowing what he would think about this stuff nowadays. So that's where I'm at right now with it. But what do you guys think about Oga's Cantina and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? Do you like the name? Do you like the idea of alcohol being served at the cantina? Do you not like the idea of alcohol being served at the cantina? Let me know below. I know a lot of people have very passionate opinions about this. Comment, let's talk about it. If you're new to the channel, I do content on Disney parks, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, all of it. all the time. If you're on Twitter, please consider following me at OrangeGrow55. And as always, have a wonderful day.